Hello, and welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews.
I'm all out of ink ribbons.
And I'm Gary. And today we're going to review and discuss Resident Evil Retribution, which is the fifth movie in the Resident Evil franchise, also released in 3D, written and directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. Iain, if you could, please give us a recap of the previous four movies and a synopsis for Resident Evil Retribution.
Why? Why should I? Alice does it for me at the beginning of this film anyway. For those of you who haven't been following, Alice, a security operative from the Hive in the very first Resident Evil film, escapes from the Hive and unknowingly releases the T-Virus into Raccoon City. Raccoon City is destroyed and the T-Virus goes about the world destroying all life, including plants and water. At the end of that, Alice decides to take her clone army to Japan to take on Wesker, and unknowingly loses all of her powers and decides to hook up with a bunch of survivors at a prison to head to a boat called Arcadia. The start of this one, Arcadia is under attack by Jill Valentine, who's under control of Umbrella. Alice is knocked out and captured and taken to an underwater, under ice facility run by Umbrella that has a bunch of testing chambers where they have been testing the mutinatable T-Virus and selling it to the highest bidders. It's down to Alice and a few unlikely allies to try and escape before the facility is destroyed.
What a convoluted mess.
Oh, fucking hell.
You know, that sounds just like the video games.
Yeah.
So, you know, I watched this film and I was like, you know what? I checked my watch and it was near 20 minutes until this film actually started for real. Because you get 5 minutes of what happened previously, and then you get the slow motion in reverse of what's happened on the Arcadia at the end of the last film. And then just to recap that, it plays it back and forwards for you. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And so Alice ends up in the water, and, you know, interestingly, they couldn't get the actual tanker set that they had in the last film, so they kind of had to green screen the whole boat this time.
Really?
Yeah.
Not noticeable.
No. And so Alice then wakes up in bed. I'm like, it's kind of like the first film, or like the other films where she wakes up naked in bed.
Yeah.
Maybe all the other Resident Evils were a dream. Oh, no, wait, there's zombies. There's zombies, but wait a minute. You're married to Oded Fair? Is he Carlos?
Yeah.
Is he Todd? You know, that's what he was called in the novelization. I can't believe these films had a novelization. And so and there's a zombie outbreak, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is very familiar. It reminds me of a remake. Can you guess which one it was? The Dawn of the Dead remake. Yeah, that's the one. You know, it's almost shot just like it. The same color palette, the same sweeping shot of the street, and everyone running around in panic, to the point where they escape the house and get into a car with Michelle Rodriguez. I'm like, what are you doing here? Well, she's got no memory of what happened in the other film, so I'm like, well, maybe, who knows? What the fuck knows what's going on? Maybe it'll be explained. But then, just like the Dawn of the Dead remake, the car gets hit, car flips, and Alice and her child abandon Michelle Rodriguez in the car. Now where are we? Now what? Is this the real Alice? Was that what?
Yeah. Who the fuck starts off every single one of their fucking films with a flashback? It worked in 2, okay? And it worked in 3. But for fuck's sake, if I have to hear, my name is Alice, I'm a security operative from the Hive, fucking again, Because the only people who can be following this franchise are fans of this franchise. And if they're fans, they already fucking know how they got to this point. So if complete strangers are walking into the cinema on the 5th film and need to be told what's happening...
Yeah, but I mean, if you watch the trailer for this film, Sir Patrick Stewart, Jean-Luc Picard, is the one telling you to come and watch this film.
Oh, God. Why?
Technology is changing our world.
My name is John, and this is my world.
With technology advancing so rapidly today,
My name is Fang, and this is my world.
imagine what our world will look like tomorrow.
My name is Alice, and this is my world.
Why, how much did he get paid for that?
I don't know.
But yeah, the whole sequence where she wakes up, I mean, there's a bit of mystery there, I suppose.
Well, it's just another retread of Resident Evil Apocalypse. No, Resident Evil Afterlife.
Resident Evil Extinction.
It's where, we had Dr. Isaacs who was doing tests on all the clones of Alice.
Yeah, yeah.
And so now we have an entire film where they're doing tests on clones of Alice.
Yeah.
Like, for what purpose? Well, I guess they weren't testing Alice. They were using this to sell the virus to the highest bidder.
Yeah. And
I'm like, why is this facility still running? There are no American governments or Russian governments or Chinese or Japanese governments anymore. There is only Umbrella.
That's it. That's the way they tell you. Oh yeah, we made a reconstruction of New York and released the virus there and sold that to the Russians. And we made a Moscow setting and released that and sold that to the Americans, and same to the Chinese and same to the Japanese. Right. 2 films ago, we got told that the virus escaped out into the world.
Well, it did in Raccoon City, yeah.
But now we're getting told that Umbrella sold the virus to these people. So did they release it? Because if they didn't, why the fuck did you sell it to them if it was just going to escape anyway?
Let's get to another really dumb moment where Alice is in a holding chamber. And look, Jill's back.
Hey, Jill's cleavage.
And this is just a really dumb sequence where she's interrogating Alice. And she's repeating the question, why did you betray Umbrella?
Project Alice. Why did you turn against Umbrella?
Jill, is that you?
Project Alice. Why did you turn against Umbrella?
And I'm like, is this a rhetorical question?
Yeah.
What answer were you expecting Alice to give you at this point?
Yeah, because I've been following the series. She didn't betray... well, okay, if we're going back to the very first film, then yes, she did plan to betray Umbrella because she didn't like what Umbrella was doing. If you're talking about the other films subsequent, you keep letting her go!
Well, it's not long before, mysteriously, the power to this facility goes down.
Yeah.
And the door opens. And a tight-fitting leather outfit just pops out for Alice.
Oh, well,
it's like, yeah, we were keeping this here for you.
Yeah, why was it in the room? Why was it part of the room?
So Alice steps outside, a bit unsure about what's going on. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I know what we need now. A callback to another Resident Evil movie. Let's have the laser fence again. I can't believe that she runs all the way to the door. There's no exit other than this door, and the door just opens for her.
Yeah, she looks like she's in a lot of uncomfortable pain trying to run in whatever that PVC outfit is supposed to, how it's supposed to work. It looks really uncomfortable. I like the outfits that Alice or Milla has been wearing through the films. I mean, the red dress in the first one's pretty iconic. I mean, she looked pretty combat-esque in the second and third one, especially in the third one, bit of a Mad Max thing going on about it. The fourth one was all right, but this one just looked really uncomfortable. One thing I do want to bring up quickly, though, before we get too far into it, is the fact I felt really bad for the survivors on the boat in Arcadia. If we're going by chronologically, those people have been awake for about 5 minutes before they start getting blasted by Umbrella. That seemed really harsh.
Yeah. And it's also, at this point, I realised that Chris, Claire, and Kmart are nowhere to be seen in this film.
No, did you not like that? I warned you in the last one. Paul W.S. Anderson just goes...
Well, Chris is like one of the main characters from the Resident Evil franchise games.
Yeah.
Has one film and gone.
Yeah.
Kmart, who had some scenes in the third film, reappeared later with no dialogue and is now just brushed under the carpet.
Yeah, she was I'm pretty sure she was the reason why they were wanting to get to Arcadia, because to rescue her. But she's gone. And Claire, yeah, maybe she couldn't acting schedule and all that kind of stuff. If you think that's bad, you wait till the next one, dude. But Alice ends up walking into the Tokyo set piece. And as we said, Umbrella have just been kind of testing the virus. So how do we fill 10 minutes? We just remake the intro to Afterlife with the Japanese girl. And she attacks the businessman. And everything kicks off. I really started to lose it. I'll lose it more as the film goes on. I started to lose it when she brushed past Alice. And it took her like 10 minutes. Because it was all in slow-mo. I'm like, am I supposed to get that Alice is sensing the virus inside her? If that's the case, Alice, why don't you break her fucking neck? Instead of just standing there, watching her attack this guy and watching all the zombies, infect everybody and start killing a few off, and then a big door opens and she decides to run off. And we get to the next big action set piece, because you've got to mark these in a Resident Evil movie, where Alice takes on all these zombies in a corridor. This is nowhere as good as Old Boy or The Raid.
True. I mean, it's over stylized, filled with slow-mo, and some of it looks cool. Yeah, but that's it.
Does she do her own stunts? She's still doing her own stunts.
Mostly, yeah. She has stunt doubles. She's had a stunt double in all the films for the really over-the-top bits. But for the most part, Milla she's trained to do all this.
Yeah.
And then you've got to remember, she doesn't have her powers.
Yeah.
But she's still able to kick ass better than anyone else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not everybody, because after taking out all of these zombies, she wanders into the control room and realizes somebody's already been in there and blown everybody away. And it turns out to be Ada.
She was one of my favourite characters from Resident Evil 2, and an interesting sort of love interest for the Leon character, who was amazing, and he hasn't even turned up in these films yet.
Don't do this. Don't do this to me now.
I kind of liked Ada. I like the fact that she looks identical to the character from the games, right down to the cocktail dress. But I'm like, why is she wearing the cocktail dress like all these years after the apocalypse, though? Is this like her go-to, espionage gear?
It's like the Jill Valentine thing from number 3.
Yeah. Now you probably noticed that Ada has been dubbed in this film.
You were one of the 50 basic models.
Basic models.
How do you think Umbrella populates these test scenarios? Hundreds of people dead each time they run a simulation.
And I was like, that's pretty bad dubbing. But then I was like, but the voice sounds so familiar.
Yeah.
And that's because they got the same voice actress that dubbed Ada from Resident Evil 2 and 4 to dub her for this game. And I was like, for this film. And I was like, I kind of put a wry smile on my face. I was like, okay, that's something that I like.
Really? The 5th fucking movie? You decide to bring in Ada Wong from Resident Evil 2? And, oh, look who she's working for. Wesker.
Well, that makes sense, yeah.
Makes sense? He fucking hires Barry and Leon and Luther. Remember, Luther survived at the end of the last movie. Maybe he didn't have any acting conflicts for this film. They're coming in to rescue Alice, because Wesker's realised that they need Alice to save the human population from Umbrella, who at the moment are being controlled by the Red Queen.
You're all going to die down here.
I've heard that before.
So, they ended the last film somewhere on the west coast of America.
Yep.
Outside of LA, right?
Yes.
So I can only imagine that Alice has been unconscious for maybe a couple of weeks, maybe, since she fell in the water to being woken up in this facility.
Yeah.
And so somehow Luther has gone from LA and managed to find her in this facility in Russia.
Oh, no, because you're missing something. He's hooked up with Leon S. Kennedy and Barry Burton, from Stars.
But
the main
Leon was a rookie cop
in Resident Evil 2.
And Barry was a Stars, but I don't know if they were ever cops or Stars members because they don't mention it. And as I come to recall, Leon and Barry never even met in the video games.
They would later on meet in the comic books, and the stories around the video games would start to interact all the characters, but not the fucking films! Paul W.S. Anderson basically went, I'm making another Resident Evil film. You know what really works? Taking characters out of the games and sticking them in the films and giving them no fucking backstory.
I've got to say, Kevin Durand playing Barry Burton, he's not cast properly here. Maybe if Kevin had aged maybe 20 years...
Yeah, Barry looks way too young.
He would fill out into the role of Barry.
Yeah.
But, I like Kevin Durand. I really love him in the TV show Strain. He's a badass character. And I know he's had some iffy parts in some other films.
Yeah.
But he's instantly recognizable and he has so much charisma. Yet... he's given nothing to do in this. It's like they've all reading their lines off a cue card, off camera.
Yeah.
There's no emotion, no weight to it. There's no investment because these characters have this camaraderie which is not set up or shown to us in any way.
What do you expect? We're the 5th fucking Resident Evil film in.
And it's just shoehorning characters into the plot.
Yeah.
Which they...
Yeah.
And so now Wesker is now a rogue agent. He explains to Alice that he's now here to save Alice. And he's hired these people to come in and save Alice. I'm like, since when did Alice need fucking saving? Ever!
Yeah.
So, now the Red Queen, we are told, who now has a different face and voice, is now running Umbrella. And Wesker's powerless to stop her. And I'm like, wait a minute. In the first film, Kaplan... comes out of the door and goes, I fried the bitch. He fried it. That system was taken down.
Yeah.
So, were there Red Queens in all the facilities?
I can only assume so.
So, has all the Red Queens in the other facilities now formed the hive mind, which is now controlling everything?
I can only assume so.
It's sort of malfunctioning because it's decided now it wants to spread the virus all over the world, and Wesker's the one going, no.
Don't listen to the traitor, Wesker. I am in control now.
Yeah, now, that's where I get the problem, because in this film, they turn around and they go, oh yeah, the Red Queen, she went all homicidal in the first one. Wait, no. She killed them off to contain the virus, and it was the human element that fucking released it. Now in the 5th movie, it's like, oh yeah, the Red Queen's still bad. She's doing bad stuff with the virus. No, I don't believe so, because in the last one, it was Wesker who was obviously capturing people and then killing them to use their fresh DNA to obviously control the virus. Oh, fuck.
And then the Umbrella Corporation under Dr. Isaacs was performing multiple tests on Alice clones to create a clone army to perhaps be the backbone of Umbrella.
Yeah, or make an antivirus, or end up just making super zombies with it. They just keep changing their minds as they go.
And we already know that Umbrella was successful in cloning Alice's, which had the same powers as her.
Yeah.
Now, in this film, Umbrella are making clones...
just to test.
But if they wanted a clone army to be able to deal with the apocalypse... they're cloning Alice. We just saw a clone of Alice at the start of this film. Later on, Alice will stumble into a facility where there's Alice's coming off a production line. I'm like, Umbrella, you have the answer right there. Make a ton of Alice clones, give them the superpowers, send them out into the world, end the apocalypse. But
Yeah.
Umbrella doesn't even think. They're not even thinking. There's no thought.
No, because they're still mutating the T-virus. And obviously, as we saw in the last movie, it continues into this one, that the T-virus has now become the last Pelagus virus. But we're not actually told that. We're just told that the T-virus is mutated, and this is how we're getting these tentacle-mouthed monsters that look still really, really fucking bad. I mean, I can take a couple of aggressive running zombies every now and again, and I know how you kind of had to boost it up to make them a bit more scary after obviously the farcicals of the first, second. I didn't mind them in the third movie, but now they're just getting stupid, especially when I just know that the actor's just walking around like this, and it's all just CGI imposed on top of that. But Alice and Ada, we're getting distracted at the moment. Alice and Ada have had their little fight, which was kind of cool.
I should also say that it is a shot-for-shot remake of the fight sequence between Leon and Ada from Resident Evil 4.
Which is kind of fucking stupid, because I thought Alice was a badass, but Ada can hold her own against her. I mean, I know Ada's a badass, but I expect Ada to be a badass. And I expect Alice to be a badass, I just don't expect them to be on the same fucking power level. They stumble into the New York set facility, and oh my god, this is one of the many reasons why I got annoyed. Was the Red Queen decides to activate the New York facility setup.
Wait a minute, who is the Red Queen talking to? Oh wait, shit, she's talking to the audience.
Yeah. Oh, and Jill, because I think Jill's controlled by that little red thing, so she's got to keep in contact with her. But we now get the Axeman fight in New York. And if you weren't so excited with the fight in the last movie, now we've got 2 Axemen. Oh my fucking god. Shoot them in the head. Yeah, that doesn't work. Really? You didn't realise that? Okay. Now, we're just going to have Ada looking kind of scared in this bus, while this guy just keeps trying to smash the bus up. And then you've got the other one throwing his axe at Alice. Alice dodging out the way and luring the 2 of them. The 2 of them are chasing Alice down the road, and you see one swing left and the other swing right. I can only imagine that they actually stopped their axe at some point, because I'm pretty sure if they swung the whole way, they'd have gutted the guy next to them. And then, amazingly, obviously, if you haven't been following the action sequence, there's some petrol has come out of the gas tanker, which, they're going to use. They're going to use. Yes, they're going to use. Oh, no, they don't use. What they do is they get their axes caught in a car, and then the girls just shoot the gas canister of the car, which throws them into the petrol tanker. That's how much I enjoyed that sequence. It was brilliant.
Well, there's something that the film did improve upon over its previous installments.
Oh, really?
And that was the liquor. I didn't think we'd see another liquor in the Resident Evil movies, but when this one turned up, I was like, holy shit, that actually looks okay.
I could slap you.
Really? It looked okay. I mean, it's a giant-sized liquor, but it didn't look immediately CGI. And so I was a bit forgiving of its appearance and the way that it moved. And, we have Leon and Barry and Luther and these Joes.
Yeah, these nameless Joes.
And so I was like, well, if you're not a named character, what's your like? Oh, there he goes, there's one.
The fucking Moscow fight sequence with the last Pelagus fucking zombies, they look so fucking bad.
I kind of like the fact that one of them had a chainsaw. I was like, yeah, it's been a while. We need chainsaws. It's a horror movie. There's chainsaw-wielding enemies in the Resident Evil games, remember?
But it's the fact that fucking Leon stands next to him, doesn't bother shooting him. You know, he doesn't bother shooting him. He just watches his mate get chainsawed up, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm out of ammo."
That there is the worst chainsaw death I've seen in any film ever.
We've seen a few.
He just stands there.
Oh God, it was so bad. I was just like, you know, I know that they were trying to recreate some of the iconic scenes from Resident Evil 5. But the fact that the Resident Evil 5 sequences worked so well, coming off the back of Resident Evil 4, the village sequence with Leon at the beginning of Resident Evil 4 was brilliant. Adapting it for Resident Evil 5 with Chris and Shiva and the locals of Africa looked absolutely brilliant. Sticking it in a Resident Evil movie so that it's really, really dark. All of the guys are wearing Russian armed forces uniforms. So the zombies got dressed. And the fact that most of their skins are blue. Why are their skins blue? And the fact that the zombies are actually a lot more scarier than these guys. The zombies run and jump and leap on people. These guys just walk very, very slowly towards this shop. They're armed to fucking buggery. But it doesn't matter because they can't hit for shit. Alice and Ada at this point have realised that the strike team are late and so have ended up in the suburban aspect of the facility, which is a recreation of the neighbourhood of Raccoon City. And Alice comes across her clone daughter in this movie.
Now, I kind of got the impression that Alice, despite having no powers, still has a telepathic link to her clones and inherits the memories when they die?
No, she just reads the script before everybody else.
Because she immediately knows sign language and inherits this girl as her daughter, who obviously mistakes her for her mother, and she's like, "Why are you wearing these strange clothes, mummy?"
Yeah.
And she just immediately becomes surrogate mum to this girl. I'm like, oh, okay. And oh look, we've got Oded Fair. He's back again. And remember this guy?
Yeah,
from Resident Evil 1?
Yeah, one from Resident Evil 1.
They actually asked the medic and Kaplan from Resident Evil 1 if they would reprise their roles, and they both said, no thanks. And so they just ended up becoming gas-wearing, masked people in the background.
Yeah, and you got Michelle Rodriguez there, looking all badass, and obviously...
At least she's in character. She reminds me of Rain.
Yeah. I get that, and I get the whole cloning aspect of Umbrella now. But
now it's explaining that in the first film, they were all clones that got sent in there.
Yeah.
But what?
So Umbrella knew what they were sending these people into. So why didn't they just clone more and stop the zombies from outbreaking at Raccoon City? Because it seemed a complete waste of time sending those people down there. But now we've got another big action sequence, and oh my god, how many helmet guys can you shoot? Because every time Ada or Alice decide to shoot out the house, all they hit are the helmet guys. There is I don't think there is any cover out there for any of the actual bad guys. But just to keep them alive, I swear to God, I tried to count this. I didn't check it. I swear, when you see the wide shot of them all stood there, there's like 4 masked Umbrella operatives and the other main characters. When Alice and Ada are shooting out there, they must hit at least 12 masked guys and still not hit any of the main ones. And it's only after when Ada's just like, Alice, you've got to go. Here's some special glasses from Resident Evil 4 that will show you the way out. And here's my grappling gun from old times because I need to move as lightly as possible. And Alice is just gone at this point. And the house is blown up and Ada hides into the basement. Yeah, it looks cool. I like Ada, but... Alice and her daughter then stumble into the underground train lines from the Russian set piece, and they come across Michelle Rodriguez,
the nice one,
the nice one, yeah. And there's kind of a cool little joke where Becky's like, "I've met your sister. She's not very nice."
I met your sister. What? She's not very nice.
I'm like,
And that's where we find out that Rain also, the nice Michelle Rodriguez, doesn't like guns. She protested against gun handling.
yeah,
And now Alice has to teach her how to fire a gun.
yeah. It's just like a camera. You just point and shoot. Don't worry about reloading or anything, you know, or if the bullet jams, or if the gun gets knocked out of your hand, or anything like that. You just point and shoot. Oh God, because it. Alice then turns up in the Moscow section to save everybody, because that's what Alice does. She saves everybody and then she gets them all killed after. She turns up in a badass looking car, and like this one said, the fucking awesome looking liquor turns up for about fucking 4 seconds before he's knocked into a liquor shop. And then we have the chase sequence, much like Resident Evil 5, where all the Las Plagas zombies can ride bikes and drive cars and fire rocket launchers while they're on fire. And it just looks so fucking bad, because you just know. This is like 45, 50 minutes into the fucking movie. You know it's not the end yet. You know none of these people are gonna die. The zombies are such bad fucking shots that even Alice has to turn around to Barry and Leon, who are fucking retarded, and goes, "Boys, do you mind?" And they're like, "Okay, don't mind if I do. Let's give her some covering fire." What were you doing before she made that call? Oh, we best not fire out the back, Barry. Why? Because we might steal the limelight off of Alice. Let's wait until she asks us nicely. And before they can even properly kill anybody, the fucking giant fucking liquor dog thing chases down them, smashes a few of the cars out of the way, and they just so happen to fly down the entrance to the subway and collapse the whole thing on top of the liquor dog thing.
You know, I was kind of enjoying some of the action set pieces. I wasn't as upset as you sound, Ian. But the moment that car went up the ramp and went from a practical car to a CGI car, I lost it. I was just like, I thought you'd gotten past the shit CGI stage. Wrong. Because that was atrociously awful.
Yeah.
The way that it careens down the stairway and then crashes into the subway, I was just like, no. Just, you lost me.
It doesn't get any better from that. They all get together and realise that the only way to get out is through the main elevator that the strike team had used to get down. And they need to get there because, lo and behold, they've set a timer. Every one of these films, barring number 3, I think, has a time limit that you've got to get to. Every single one. And they get to the elevator, but they start to come under fire. Well, the liquor attacks first. He kills
Michelle, no!
He kills Michelle Rodriguez in such a limp-ass way. I suppose because she couldn't focus on being two characters. And heavily injures Barry, reminiscent of Resident Evil 1, if you ever went for the bad ending. But Barry's just like, I'm having far too much fun. I'm going to hold these guys off and shoot everybody. And Becky is kidnapped by the dog thing. So Alice has to go on this whole Aliens reference to go rescue Newt from the Queen. While the rest of the STARS members are fighting off Rain 1 and her team. Oh, God, what is worse at this point? Which one do you want to take? Do you want to take the shitty Alien reference or the bad fucking shootout?
I'm going to take the bad shootout because it really upset me. Because Jill and Barry are, for me, the stars of the first Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
Their dialogue is legendary.
Yeah.
I know it's awful. I know it's poorly scripted and badly voice acted.
What, this film or the Resident Evil 1?
Well, actually, in that case... Well, no, because they still fucked it up because these two characters don't even talk to each other. They don't even recognize each other. And they're just shooting at each other. Yeah. I mean, and Jill, you can't even see what she's doing properly. You know, it's just like a boob shot with her head and muzzle flashes going off at the bottom like headlights.
Yeah.
And you know, and so Barry's hiding behind the corner, and they pull out Ada. And I'm like, oh, Barry, don't worry. Like, you probably don't even know who Ada actually is. So, you know, don't fall for this trap.
Yeah.
He just steps out into the open, arms raised.
Yeah.
And just gets blasted. I was like, that was your plan?
That was your whole plan. But it's alright because I'm not dead yet. I'll catch my gun and shoot one. Before he's gunned down again by Carlos and everybody else. That was such a fucking waste of such a brilliant character from Resident Evil. You know, I know Paul Anderson has wasted a lot of the Resident Evil characters, but like Gary said, Barry was kind of my favourite. I spent a lot of time with Barry back in the day, you know, and I really grew attached to him, especially when I actually finally managed to keep him alive in the game, and then you fucking shit on it with that death sequence. Oh, God, right, so I've got the Aliens reference.
I don't even want to think about it.
Fucking hell. When she flew up there, I couldn't remember exactly how this turned out, but when I saw Becky encased in that weird gelatinous stuff, what was the point in that? What was it going to do to her?
That girl probably could have broken free on her own accord.
Yeah.
You know?
What does he do? Does he turn them into other liquors that way? Does he eat them later on? Did he put her near his ass and just kind of poop her onto the wall?
I've never seen a liquor abduct anyone from any of the games. It's a killing machine.
The fact that as well that they face off against each other, she flies up on the little harpoon gun thing, shoots it 4 times in the head, and boom, it's done. And I'm like, well, that was a waste. But it gets worse because she rescues the girl, and oh look, this guy next to her who's dead. We don't know how, he's just dead. He's got grenades. Let's take these. We might need these because we've just walked straight into the cloning facility where all the clones are. Who's still running this machine?
The Red Queen, evidently.
Right. Why?
Making more zombies?
What? Wouldn't it be better to turn the power off and take all that energy to, I don't know, lock down the elevator or close the blast doors upstairs or do something other
Try
than...
not to think, Ian. Try not to
Sorry,
think.
yeah. Because when Becky turns to her mum and says, "Mummy, who are all these people? Why is that you? What's this?" And Alice is like, "Oh, I'm so shocked. I'm seeing clones of myself." 2 films ago, you had an army of them. And the liquor comes back. And Alice just kind of drops the grenades and flies off with the harpoon gun.
Destroying not only the liquor, but the cloning facility and all of these clones. I'm like, do you really not give a flying fuck about life in any way, Alice? I mean, is it because they're all asleep or they've not been turned on yet that you don't care or it doesn't matter?
Yeah. I try not to think, Gary.
Yeah.
They finally make their way out, and we're left with Luther, Leon, Alice, and Becky, and they get into their little snow buggy, and they start going off. And you're kind of thinking, maybe, just maybe, this is the end of the film and the end of the franchise, and we could just stop and just be happy, get on with our lives. But nope! The bad guys come back by smashing a submarine up through the ice, right underneath the buggy. That is amazing! I mean, I know the facility got flooded and the bomb went off and the whole place is going down and most of the team got wiped out. So you're kind of left with just the badass girls of this movie. But bringing up a submarine exactly underneath their snow buggy just seemed just a little bit far-fetched. Just a little bit. And you've got Ada, who gets knocked out, and that's a complete waste of our time. Rain, who injects herself... Wait for this one. Injects herself with the Las Pelagas parasite.
What?
Yeah.
That's the T-virus
No,
became
no. They are two separate things. And I'm assuming, just to go in line with the game, that they're a separate thing in this as well. Not once leading up to Leon telling us this, has Alice mentioned the Las Pelagas. It's been the T-virus the whole fucking time.
It mutated, right?
Yeah, that's what we assumed. But no, Leon's like...
The Las Plagas parasite.
Oh, it's the Las Pelagas parasite.
But doesn't that turn you into a mindless, mouth-opening, crazed zombie? Well, no, it just turns Michelle Rodriguez into an even more of a badass who can now absorb bullets and spit them out of her fingers.
And regen. And Jill's obviously under control of the Red Queen.
So now we have a fight between Alice and Jill.
Yeah.
Whilst
Luther and Leon fight Rain.
Yeah. And this is a sequence that goes on for 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, I kind of really wanted to like this sequence. I really, really, really wanted to, because I was imagining all the time and effort that the actors went into to obviously choreograph their fights, especially Alice and Jill, with the whole swinging of the sticks. But the fucking camera editing is so fucking horrible. I just lost track of where I was after a while.
And this is where it turned into Mortal Kombat again.
Yeah.
When we see Luther take quite a nasty punch to the chest, and we see his ribcage cracking.
Yep.
And his heart stops.
Yeah.
I was like, is he dead?
Yeah, that motherfucker dead.
Oh shit, they killed him. Like, why did you bring him back just to have hardly any dialogue, just a few nods to Alice? I'm still alive for now.
Yeah.
Just to die that way. Okay then.
Yeah.
And then we've got Alice and Jill, and I'm looking at Alice and I'm like, Claire Redfield, remember?
Yeah.
All you did was take it off.
Yeah, just pull it off her chest.
But no, in this she's trying to kill Jill. She's throwing her blades at her. She's doing everything she can to kill Jill. And it's only when Jill has her up against the blades and about to kill her that Alice remembers, oh yeah, I'll take the thing off you.
Yeah, and shuts you down.
What? And so Michelle Rodriguez has already kicked the shit out of Leon, killed Luther.
Yeah.
And is now fighting Alice. And she does the rib crack punch to Alice. And we watch Alice's rib cage break and her heart almost stop. And she's done for. And then the thing that pisses me off now is that Jill, she's just recovered. And I'm like, okay, this is where Jill, you were shat on in the second film. This is your moment to kill the last bad guy of the film. And what does she do? She passes the gun to Alice. I'm like, Alice has had her ribcage broken and she's nearly dead. All you've had done is this thing taken off of you. And if I remember rightly, you should be suffering from amnesia for the next couple of days.
Yes.
But instantly she's like, I remember, I'm Jill, you're Alice, you're the badass, take the gun, kill her.
Yeah, because I know that you need the gun to shoot the ice. I haven't seen what's underneath the ice because, oh my god, Alice shoots the ice out of Rain's feet. Rain falls into the icy water, and all of the Las Pelagas Moscow zombies have swam up or escaped from the facility and decide to devour Rain underneath the water.
It looks epic, but it's totally stupid.
No, what looks epic and is totally stupid is the end of this movie.
Are you fucking kidding me? The end to this film looks amazing.
I'm sorry, I can't spoil what's going to happen.
Well, you've just kind of done now. I can only imagine that, because every film's setup for the next film has only led me to utter disappointment. And the ending of this film is so awesome. Where it looks like they're back in the White House.
Yeah, they're in Washington.
And they've got these giant walls with manned turrets, and they've got helicopters flying around and being taken out. There's lickers, there's zombies, there's flying creatures.
Wesker's just injected Alice and given her powers back, just in case you...
Using the exact same shot of the the virus going through and into her system. And I'm like,
and he's like, Alice, we need your help to save mankind.
Even though he already had a cloning facility full of Alices, he could have just taken any one of those clones.
You've got
Alice.
Who have we got there? We've got Alice. We've got Wesker. We've got Ada. We've got Leon. We've got Becky. We've got the army. Oh my god!
I know, I'm set for disappointment for the next film, aren't I, Ian?
Yeah, massively, dude.
In that case, I just can't wait to see how they fuck it up even more. I honestly can't wait.
This is the last that remain of us, of the human race. It seems we're bonded against a common foe. This is why we needed you back. The ultimate weapon.
So, I've only really got one favourite scene in Save Alice the movie, and that is
Save Alice the movie.
The liquor. I have really thought that the creature looked good, down to its detail, the lighting, the way that it moved. You know, it was only until they fucked up the creature by having it abduct the little girl.
Yeah.
But those action sequences with the liquor I thought were really good. That's it. That's all. That was my favourite moment.
My favourite scenes, I kind of like the interrogation sequence at the beginning. And don't make that face, because you like the fucking liquor, which was horrible to watch. At least the interrogation sequence had some acting from Alice, where it looked like she was in intense pain, and over the course of a couple of days or weeks or however fucking long she was in there for, you know, she looked like she'd mentally been broken by Jill before she got let out. My other favourite sequence was when Becky turns to Rain in the train station and says, I met your sister. I thought, that's a funny joke. Why am I laughing in a Resident Evil film? Honestly, this film... If this film was a game, then Alice ends it with an A rating, not an S ranking, because she let Luther die. I honestly... Part of me really wants to say I don't recommend this movie. Part of me really does. But in the context of all the other films up to this point, and including what's coming next...
I have no idea what's coming next.
He has no idea. I've already seen it. This film is more like the computer games present day than any of the others.
It's interesting that the Resident Evil games, up to 6... started borrowing moments from the film.
Yeah.
It's like...
It's over the top. It's stupid. The dialogue is bad in some sequences. The acting, you just don't care after a while. Even if your favourite characters are there, like Ada and Barry and Leon. They're just cosplayers. They're just people in fucking outfits that look like them. Leon himself, I think it's Johan Erb who plays Leon. He's such a fucking sleaze at the end when he's putting his hand on Ada's leg. Like there's some background relationship there that if you haven't played the games you don't know about. No, Leon's nothing like that in the games. In fact, he keeps Ada at arm's length and she's the one coming on to him. But no, let's change that to surprise people in the film. It's... If you've gotten past Afterlife, just fucking watch Retribution. Just do it, okay?
I've got a question for you. And who got Retribution in this film? Why did they call it Retribution? Like,
why did they call the last one Afterlife? And I'm pretty sure at the end of number 3, extinction means extinction, like everything's dead. But
well, it was until the next film. I don't recommend this film.
Really?
You know, as a diehard fan of the franchise, Resident Evil 2 was my absolute favourite in the series of games. Why? Because I loved Leon and I loved Ada.
Yeah.
And the dialogue, the relationship that grew to the, you know, dramatic endings, depending on which playthrough you were doing, as to how Ada sort of either died or escaped the story.
Yeah.
Just great. Having these cosplayers in this film, you know, the dialogue is bad. The delivery is bad. You know, I remember Jensen Ackles was once cast as Leon, but ended up bowing out. And I was like, he would have brought so much more charisma to this character.
Yeah.
Perhaps too much.
Yeah.
Barry being killed off, you know, if you're a fan of the games, you know, you've probably seen Barry die in the first game with the bad ending.
Yeah.
But seeing him go out like this, it's just you're pissing on us.
Yeah.
Paul Anderson, you're pissing on the fans. You're not nodding to us and going, "Hey, you remember those bits? You're doing it wrong."
Yeah.
I tell you what, you are doing right. And again, it's the same as the last film in that I can recommend you watch this film. You can watch this film and have not seen any of the others because there's a 20-minute backstory and recap and sets you everything up that you need to know, which is not very much, to follow action scene, action scene, action scene, which in this film is literally layered out with all those set pieces, the Moscow, the subway, the New York. The action is really good in terms of the spectacle, the over-the-top nature, muzzle flares, sparks, guns, blood, death, choreographed excellently. But that's it, because you don't care for the characters. You don't care who lives and dies, because
it's all about Alice.
It's all about Alice. And you know, Wesker was a great villain, but now you've turned him into a quasi-good guy. But it was all his fault, but now he's... The more you think about it, the worse it gets. And so that's why I can only recommend it as a popcorn, turn your brain off action flick, because it's the best way to enjoy this kind of film.
Yeah.
Watching the series in a marathon of viewings, you just kind of... it starts to eat away at you, and you're just like, God damn, I just need to go back and play the game some more.
Yeah, I just need to play number 1 again.
So, on any other level, in terms of storytelling, character, motivation, plot, anything like that, forget it. Just forget it. Chuck it out the window. Because this is just another Paul W.S. Anderson slow-mo spectacle. And if you took away the recaps, the slow-mo, and the pointlessness, this film would be 40 minutes in length.
Yeah.
For real. And, you know, that's all it is.
I really am going to look forward to you watching the next one.
Yeah, after this ending, I'm really excited. And yeah, I know at the start of the next review, I'm just going to be pulling my face off. I can't wait. Thanks for watching Off the Shelf Reviews.
I met your sister.
What?
She's not very nice.